GDEXA Masterclass for today's topic, future skills and how to be outstanding in the future of work in getting really the skills which are relevant for the future. My name is Ekrem. I'm happy to be your host today throughout this masterclass. It's going to take about half an hour and we go through about various topics. Here is the agenda for today. So we're going to start the topic with why future skills, why this topic at all, and continue with the skill gap dilemma. So everyone is talking about the skill gap. Let's deep dive a little bit and cover what does that mean. We will do a small role play, and simulate an interview process, continue with the hiring and how to get hired once mastering the future skills. And finally, I will, show you the top 3 skills for the future you may need to acquire. So yeah, be ready for an interactive session. Hope you will like it and enjoy. First of all, why me? Why I'm your host today? So as mentioned, my name is Ekrem. My main profession is data and AI lead at Microsoft. I've been in the IT industry since 15 years, mainly in the big data and analytics area. But by heart, I am the co-founder of GDEXA, which stands for Global Digital Excellence Association. I have a multicultural background. My origins are from Turkey. I was born and raised in Germany, was living in Ireland, in Singapore, Turkey, and now back in Germany. And I perceive myself as a lifelong learner because I did my almost whole career without a college degree and made it up 4 years ago with an MBA at the Singapore Management University and keep learning new skills almost every day. And I also perceive as a digital native. That's why scan your code here and you will find me on LinkedIn, on other social media platforms. So I'm quite into this and also a true believer of networking. Happy to be connected with you afterwards. So that's a little bit about myself and here the GDEXA approach, right? So um, I think what we have done in the past quite nicely is being really very close to the students, to the professionals, because we at GDEXA are in pursuing these 3 areas, which is digital upskilling, where we are trying to give every student, every professional, fresh graduate, new future skills on a practical way. We're also helping them to get hired if they wish to continue their career. But most importantly, we are running a global mentorship program, which is really the core element of GDEXA and which really gives us a great insights into the demand of skills and the pain points, more or less, of students all around the world. And what we've done annually, and GDEXA has established 3 years ago, we've doing over 600 mentoring sessions every year. And these are some impressions about our one-to-one mentoring sessions. So we have about 90 plus mentors on our platform from various industries, from IT, finance, management, all around the places, plus over 500 mentees, right? And these are not only students, but also professionals. And while doing this one-to-one sessions, we get a lot of insights into the skill demand and skill gap from both sides, from the mentee side, but as well as from mentor sides, which are mainly hiring managers. And that's why we collected all these insights and information throughout the mentoring sessions and designed this masterclass and really to give you the top 3 skills which were on high demand and asked more often. I'm not doing this alone by myself, obviously. There's a great dream team behind the scene. This is the team of GDEXA, which running this global mentorship programs, which is doing this digital upskilling, and which really kind of created all the credibility why we are here and why we are able to give you this masterclass and the content. We've been advised by the advisory board from very famous companies who are also giving us a lot of insights into the actual pulse and trends and demands on the market about skills. So as you can see, it's various diverse people from again global companies, multinational companies, as well as startups. So also a great insights which really helped us to shape this masterclass here. So yeah, this little bit introduction about why we are giving you this masterclass. So I mean, what makes us special and what makes us credible to provide you this masterclass. I hope this helps you a little bit to shape and to bring this into context. So let's start. So why future skills? I mean, where is this topic coming from, right? Why we need future skills? Why it's different than the skills before we've learned, right? So and obviously. We are living in a ever-changing world, right? So I think you're all witnessing a global pandemic where everything is, I mean, flipped side down and changing all around the places, but also the future jobs are changing. And in fact, two-thirds of the children which were starting school 3 years ago will do a job later on which is not existing today, right? This shows the speed of change which is coming throughout the whole professions and jobs at the future. And moreover, 77% of the jobs in the next 10 years will be in the digital technology area. So, which means whenever you are thinking about your future job, I mean, be sure that it's somehow connected to a digital technology, right? So, and this is the first exercise, right? I mean, normally we are doing this interactive live session and I'm open up a Mentimeter survey, but I'm going to ask you now to maybe take a piece of paper and think through what is your dream job. So is it a medical practitioner, a doctor, a mechanical engineer, a teacher, a software developer, whatever this might be, right? So just write it down and just think about what this dream job could be in your life. And while thinking also, I mean, think about the skills this job requires. And maybe also think about skills required 10 years ago, today, and 10 years' time, right? And you will notice probably that the doctor of the future, the teacher of the future, the engineer of the future will potentially look completely different as it today, giving the technological advanced and improvements in this particular area. So this is exactly the point. The skills are changing and new skills are becoming relevant, right? And what we witnessed also is like that in universities, unfortunately, there is a kind of a gap in terms of that the students after graduating don't exactly know what skills are really relevant for me to do my job of the future or to get the job of my life, right? So there's a kind of a misunderstanding about, okay, I'm learning certain skills at school and university, but am I need this later on, or which one of them is really relevant? There's a kind of a gap in the understanding. And secondly, if we look at the fresh graduates starting their jobs, the quit rate is quite high in the first 12 months because the feedback is, hey, it's a wrong job. I don't feel comfortable. I don't have a mentor. I don't have any guidelines, and I don't feel I'm creating an impact here. And they quit. And this shows us really like that the skills required for the future are different than the skills being taught at school and universities partially. So, and that's why, I mean, I also would like to ask you to reflect and to think about your dream job you write down before and think about what skills are required, right? So, and whether you have the skills are required. So again, if you want to be a teacher, the future of a teacher is homeschooling, is video conferencing, is digital classroom, a digital whiteboard, right? If you want to be a medical practitioner, think about AI-based cancer detection or any kind of technology which helps you, I mean, getting the disease done or treatment, right? So similarly, think about the skills required for your dream job and really ask yourself, am I have the skills required or not? Because what we witnessed is, and this is the second topic of today's masterclass, is a skill gap dilemma, right? Because the situation is quite funny, right? On one hand, the employers are complaining, hey, there's no adequate people on the market. I want to hire a lot of people, but there are no kind of people out there On the other hand, the students and graduates are complaining of not able to find a job because the company is asking for experience or for various different skills. So that's the dilemma, obviously, between these two worlds. And where's this coming from? And one fact is that the job market will really change also through the digitalization. So new jobs going to be created. Reskilling will be in high demand. In fact, until 2025, about 150 million new jobs will be there, right? So that's a huge demand on the market, and most of them are in the technological area. And on the other hand, there's a huge gap in terms of there are open vacancies which are not filled, right? Especially in Europe, it's a huge gap in the area of data, big data, data science, and so on, right? So that's really a dilemma, and the skill gap is really real. And I think it's also a huge opportunity for all of us to dive into this niche and to get the right skills in order to be hired. So what is this leading for, right? So on one hand, the future of work, all the industries are changing. So there is a talent shortage in the economy. On the other hand, if you look into an automotive and the stories around Tesla, if you look into, I mean, media, if the story about Netflix, and in the industry of hotels and taxis and all the traditional industries are disrupting, so through technology, right? So, and every industry is changing, so every industry will require certain new skills, mainly soft skills and digital skills, and we need to adapt into this world. And that's why if you think about your future dream job, you ultimately need to think about the future skills required as well, because at the end of the day, you need to fill the gap in order to get hired or be hired later on, because I mean the companies are looking for a certain profile, a certain skill set, and unfortunately most of the students and fresh graduates, they don't have the skills required, and hence there's kind of a dilemma existing where the supply and demand ratio and balance is not in balance actually. And just to give you an example is the job around data science, right? It's been awarded for the sexiest jobs in the 21st century. And I think this is just something which really dominates the market, the job markets, right? Software developers, data scientists, and so on and so forth. But if you look into, and of course, I mean, it would be nice, it would so easy now, right now for you to say, okay, I'm going to go to Coursera and Udemy and get some courses and learn software developing and data science, and buff, I have my job. It's not like this, because even these technical jobs require a different skill set, which means if you look into the most asked skills, it's really the companies are complaining about that their stuff is not skilled enough in their soft skills area. It's not the technicality, it's more the soft skill which is missing, right? Which means once having the technical knowledge or your digital knowledge, for instance, or any functionality you are mastering, don't forget about the soft skills as well, because this is exactly what is high demanded. And I will demonstrate this with a small role play. So just imagine yourself in an interview, right? So can be within your area which you like to go in, or in any different area. So I'm gonna ask you now a certain question, and just try to imagine you are sitting as an interviewee and need to answer that question. So and the first question is, or might be, hey, can you explain how we can automate our supply chain with the use of technology? Yeah, very clear technical question it's supposed to, right? Because it's about technology. But the question, the core element here is automation and supply chain. So what would be your answer to that? Would it be, hey, I can code and develop nicely, or I have a great degree in math? Or do you need a certain functional knowledge, for example, in supply chain? Let's continue. Another question could be, tell us a little bit more about successful businesses or business use cases in the automotive industry. So, are you able to tell the Tesla story, and why Tesla is so important, so successful, and why Tesla is telling them a software company rather than an automotive company. So do you know the insights and the background behind this? Another question is, we have an R&D center in Asia. Do you have experience in working in remote teams? Right? This is a question related to teamwork, remote teamwork with diverse groups and diverse team members from different cultures and nationalities. And another typical question is, our finance department has no IT knowledge. How can we convince them using a software solution? Right here again, the question here is, and the expectation basically here is to bridge the technical knowledge and the digitalization trends and developments with the functional ones, which are related to finance in this case. So, and lastly, another example is, this is our first transformation project, and we expect from you to build a team. Can you? So team building, right? Leadership. And if you think through this, I mean, I think your answer can't be, yeah, I don't know the answer, but I have a good degree. I have an A plus. I think that's not enough. So you need to have a certain soft skill. You need to have certain experience, which is very easy. Even if you're a student or fresh graduate, you can have experience. So, and you need to think a little bit more broader into that in terms of, okay, I mean, the hard skills I'm getting from school and university and the grades and the certificates I have, this might not be enough. It needs to be more. And if you look into very famous quotes of people, of various celebrities, like, I'm not saying and I'm not supporting this, saying no college degree required, but even my own example shows you can go far even without a college degree. So the point here is, of course, do your academic career and finish your bachelor's or even master's or PhD or whatever you have in your goals and objectives. But this is not everything, right? So it can't be that you just rely on your degree, on your coding skills, mathematical skills, engineering skills, if you don't have the soft skill, right? So now we'll tell you at the end, what are these skills required for the future? So I hope you got the point. What we're going to say here is, right. So which is like, obviously, the generic terms of future skill is a combination of functional, technical, digital skills with soft skills, right? You need to be able to answer those questions. You need to be able to tell stories about an industry trend or a technological trend, about use cases in various areas. And these areas might be those where you have a passion for it. So having said that, I mean, the question you may ask now is, okay, great. So how I can get this job, right? So I think more or less now you know how companies are going to hire in the future and where they are looking for is. And I mean, the big trend is really, like, we call it experimental hiring, right? So it's less CV based. It's less looking into your academic career. It's more like what kind of practical experience you have. And there's a lot of funny jokes around, like, hey, we are looking for I mean, mid or early 30s years old with 20 years of experience, right? Yeah, absolutely. Of course, companies, they want it all, right? But at the end of the day, even a fresh graduate can get skills in being able to work in projects, for instance. So there's a loop in there, right, where companies are looking for experienced people, obviously. So, but how to get experience if you're a fresh graduate or if you're a student? Very simple. Just participate in projects, participate in mentorships, participate in hackathons, which are all around the places, or just organize an own one or facilitate an own one, right? So ask your friends and teammates or classmates to say, hey, let's build an app, or let's make a business model, or let's make a sales pitch, or whatever this might be. If you have an idea, just put it into reality. And this is your story. This is your experience, even though it's among your friends or an unofficial exercise, but it's still a practical exercise, because this is a story you can tell them and say, hey, I worked with 5 people for 6 weeks. We developed this and that, and I had this and this experience, and so on and so forth. And this is a great story, which really highlights that you are really willing to invest in your practical knowledge and in your soft skills. So And companies are also going this way. They're organizing more boot camps, kind of hackathons, and really caring more about your practical experience and personality rather than your grades and degrees. So, and also there's a huge trends in there where companies are looking for the skills, right? And then this slides highlight very nicely how this trending skills and most demanded skills are changing. And if you look into the table below, the trending skills in 2018 and in 2022 are more in the soft skill area, like analytical thinking, problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, active listening and learning, lifelong learning. Nothing with coding, programming, math, or whatever this might be, right? So, which means you need to emphasize more on that. And this can be only done through really um, project collaborations with engagements you can do outside of your university or outside of your school and outside of your work, right? Trying to really get into these new trend topics by just being engaged in projects. Yeah, so and here we are, right? So I think now I'm going to unveil the top 3 skills for the future. And of course, there are a lot more, but we try to summarize this into top 3 skills. So, and here they are. So I think you got the point in terms of the industry knowledge and the business knowledge, right? So if you're going to be a software developer or computer scientist, again, the coding will be commodity later on. This will be there. There will be out of the box solution. So the expectation from you is that a computer science, a software developer, how can we improve my business? I'm an automotive, I'm a retailer, I'm a education company, or whatever this might be. So how can this code, this software program help me to increase my business, to change my industry, to get new revenue streams? So this is the things and topics you need to master and know. Less technicality, more the use case, the industry and business knowledge. Very, very important. The second thing is storytelling. And I mean, most likely also data related, right? Which means you need to tell these stories, the Teslas, the Apples, the Googles, the Microsoft transformation, and all these kind of stories, right? These are great learnings and findings for any company, be it small or big. Tell the stories. I mean, listen to this, read the stories, and really create your own stories. Like I mentioned, I mean, just develop an app or just make a business case calculation or a feasibility study and a great sales pitch in PowerPoint, right? So which highlights or which solves a real world problem, right? So, or I mean, during the pandemic, think about how you can help small and medium-sized companies. You don't need to be a hacker or programmer for that. Just make a feasibility study, for instance, right? Or a business case calculation. But this will be your stories you can tell in these interviews, in the job roles, right? Saying, hey, I did this, I experienced that, I try out this one, I failed many times, I learned this. These are the stories which are really required in the future. And lastly, remote teamwork. And basically with this global mindset, because while we are working remote and be able to work remote, there's no boundaries anymore, right? You can easily work with people in Asia or in the US and I mean, globally all around the world and do it intentionally. Look for people which are not your same cultural background, right? Which have a different work habit or, I mean, work ethic, basically. This will just really help you to learn why they are doing this or how they are acting. And you can really adapt great things out of this, right? And this is very, very important to really master and have the experience in that. And the good thing is, these skills are lasting forever, right? So compared to technical or functional skills, when you learn a coding or programming language, the moment you're done with the learning and you update it there. But these soft skills and future skills, which are listed here, these top 3, will last forever. This will be part of your personality, right? It's never going to be outdated. That's why we encourage you to be more industry focused, to understand the business problem about the industry in which you are going into. Also choose for 1 or 2 industries, focus on that, be an expert in that industry. If this is not the right one, change after 6 months and try out the new things. So try fast, fail fast. This will give you a lot of stories you can tell later on, and try to make a lot of teamworks, practical teamworks, participate in hackathons or create your own ones in order to get this exposure of remote teamwork, which is going to be the future. So, and we can help you, obviously. So this is the advertising part of the masterclass. So if you like, of course, GDEXA is a non-profit organization. We are providing free mentorships, which really can help you to guide your skilled future, to create a learning path for you, which can also motivate you. We have great personalities, which are, our esteemed mentors. We're also organizing these kind of master classes and a lot of hackathons, right? So this will be your opportunity to really participate in those practical projects and get exposure and stories and practical experience and knowledge, right? So yeah, with this, hope you like this masterclass session. And if you would like to leave a comment or just sign up, go to our website, LinkedIn page, Instagram page, and then send us a note or remark. Happy to continue the conversation. Take care. Have a good time. Bye-bye.